What's going on, everyone? So the Los Angeles Lakers fired Darvin Ham this past offseason and replaced him with J.J. Redick. There was a lot of talk and a lot of conversation all offseason long about just the inadequacies of Darvin Ham and his lack of preparation, his lack of game planning, his lack of adjustments, his relationship with the players. You got a lot of reports recently leading into the game against the Milwaukee Bucks because that was their first meeting against Darvin Ham, where you heard that, like, hey, players hated Darvin Ham, hated playing under Darvin Ham, and ever since J.J. Redick has taken over, the vibe and the atmosphere and just, like, the culture and everything about it is just completely flipped, completely changed. And players seem to love playing under and with J.J. Redick compared to Darvin Ham. And, again, Lakers played the Milwaukee Bucks. Lakers also got their first win of preseason, which was nice. It was great to see the Lakers pull it out. And this was a real game. This was intense. It was really back and forth, especially in the first half. Starters didn't play too great. Rui and Max Christie were actually really good. But shooting-wise, Anthony Davis had his struggles. LeBron had his struggles. D'Lo had his struggles. However, it was, I believe, kind of the Milwaukee Bucks, because they were the ones that really set the tone. And look, it's a basketball game. Teams want to compete and all that stuff, but preseason is usually a little more laxed. Right? Guys are just kind of really trying to just get their legs under them, trying to work on their systems, the offense schemes, defense schemes, kind of just start preparing and ramping up as we get closer to the regular season, right? To kind of get and work out all the kinks and bugs and stuff so you're ready to go when the games actually matter. But the Bucks were they were really attacking. I mean, you even had Giannis kind of having this back and forth with LeBron. Like, Giannis would go down the court and dunk it home, and LeBron would go and he'd take a play, and it just felt like a team that heard all the noise about their assistant coach and wanted to kind of send a message, play for their coach. I mean, Damian Lillard and Giannis both played the entire second quarter, right? Like, and again, it kind of seemed that way. Because you got to remember, Bobby Portis, who he had a stellar game, him as well as Giannis, they have Brooke Lopez, several guys on this roster have a real relationship with Darvin Ham, right? Because Darvin Ham was there, for the championship run and all that stuff, Chris Middleton, all these guys. So I'm sure that there was some bad blood, and they kind of wanted to make a point and send a message. But after the game, Darvin Ham and Doc Rivers both responded and kind of gave their opinions on the matter, on the situation, and I want to talk about it because Darvin Ham kind of gave the generalized answer, but what Doc Rivers said I find hilarious. So let's get into it. So this is from Darvin Ham. So the state of the team when they hired me, up until the day they fired me, I like to think it improved, and that's all I care about. I poured myself, my heart, and soul into that team, trying to improve it from where it was 33-49. And to get to the Western Conference Finals in year one, have guys benefit from it financially, to have that excitement going into next year, get derailed by injuries, still manage to win the in-season tournament, and get to the playoffs. I thank God every day. Again, I'm completely grateful. I wish that franchise nothing but the best. I'm not mean or angry or bitter about anything. Some people have certain opinions, and those are opinions. But if you really look at the facts, there's not much for me personally, I have to say. So that's it. And this was via Dave McMenamin. And then Doc Rivers decided to chime in. Doc Rivers says, it makes no sense that the Lakers fired Darvin Ham after he led them to an in-season tournament championship in the Western Conference Finals. I'm not going to get into the whole thing that happened there, but he took a team to a Western Finals, and then following year, he won the in-season tournament, which they say we should have a lot of value on, and then they release him. It literally makes no sense, but it happens. It happens to all of us. It's part of what we do. But Darvin Ham's a coach. He should be on the sidelines, and I wanted him next to me. So, all right, let's unpack the Darvin Ham part, because I think that's a lot easier. And then I want to go in on Doc Rivers, because Doc Rivers... So, look, Darvin Ham, he gave the PC answer, right? He gave the, hey, there's no ill will, no bitterness. I'm rooting for them. I'm hoping for the best. It didn't really seem that way when he left. Now, I get people act out of emotion. He wasn't happy about the firing and the departure, but he was throwing all kinds of people under the bus. He was talking all kinds of mess. It's just like, take it on the chin. He also talks about how, it improved and look at the facts and all that stuff. The problem is that he didn't improve. Him as a coach did not improve. Right? The Lakers got worse in a lot of categories and in a lot of ways. The inconsistencies were a problem. Right? Darvin Ham showed no real growth or development as a head coach. Look, I defended Darvin Ham on numerous occasions. I still do to an extent, right? Because it's not all on Darvin Ham. A lot of people like to point to Darvin Ham as the singular reason the Lakers were terrible. It wasn't. Right? He's not responsible for players not showing up. He's not responsible for, bad performances and not executing and inconsistencies and guys not playing hard and all that stuff. But he is responsible for getting his team bought in. He is responsible for the offensive and defensive executions. He is responsible for the play calling, the sets, the timeouts. Right? There's a lot of things. Coaching matters. If you didn't need coaching, then no teams would have coaches. Right? But you do need coaching. And coaching can impact a game. And I talked about it. When Darvin Ham could be in his little box, he was great at times. Look at that Memphis series. Look at that Warriors series in particular. He was fantastic in that Warriors series. It was a chess match, and he was winning. It was great to see. But he was able to stay in his box. The Lakers had the advantages. The Lakers had the size advantage, the defense, the personnel advantage. And then he ran into Denver, and they no longer did. At that point, it was basically a neutral zone. And those are the matchups that really require creative and good coaching. And Mike Malone was the better of the two coaches. Then you got into the regular season. And they had their struggles. They were better. But also, Darvin Ham fails to neglect that he just completely went off the rails after the in-season tournament. You just won the in-season tournament, yes. Why are you starting to bench guys and doing all these random weird lineups and why are you experimenting after you just won the in-season tournament? Right? It was odd the way that Darvin Ham approached and went about certain things. And the lack of preparation, the lack of execution, the lack of game planning. Right? You saw it at times. There were moments where Darvin Ham looked very competent. There were moments where Darvin Ham actually looked like a very good head coach, but they were few and far between. I don't think Darvin Ham, if Darvin Ham could go to a team like Detroit, I think it'd be great, right? Because there's not the expectations. There's not the, I think he needs to go to a place that's willing to be patient and allow him to kind of get through the hurdles. Also, I think Darvin Ham needs to do what JJ Redick did and put the ego aside and bring in former head coaches as your assistants. That was originally the plan for Darvin Ham, and he didn't want to do it because of ego. He didn't want to have a bunch of assistant coaches on the bench that were former coaches. JJ Redick was like, bring it on, right? Because Darvin Ham thought, I'm the guy, I can do this, I don't need somebody helping me, I'm ready, right? Rather than just having that safety net, and it bit him in the behind. But I think if he was to go to a team that's young, that's trying to kind of find their way, I do think he could be a head coach in a situation like that to where he can kind of learn, he can kind of grow, and then the team can do the same, but there's not the expectations. The Lakers are probably the worst place he could go for him because you have a guy in LeBron James, for one, who is one of the greatest basketball minds ever. You have a guy in Darvin Ham who, all accounts, doesn't seem to work very hard. And he lacks preparation. He lacks the things that matter as a head coach. And LeBron James is looking at him like, dude, wait, what is this guy doing? There's countless footage. Darvin Ham just botching plays and all kinds of stuff where literally draws a play, erases it. What are you doing? But now look, I don't ever want to see anyone fail. I'd like, just because he wasn't right for the Lakers doesn't mean that he might not be right somewhere at some point for another team. I just think the expectations are you need to win. You need to win quick. And you need to at least show growth and improvement, which he just didn't show. Right? He was arguably worse year 2 than he was year 1. But let's talk about this guy, Doc Rivers. This guy, he says, it happens to the best of us. Doc Rivers is the most overrated coach in league history. I mean, players and former there's all kinds of people, analysts, everybody has talked about how does this guy still keep getting jobs? This guy has done nothing his career. The only championship he's ever won was with a team that, like, my dog could have coached, and they still would have won a championship. If anything, he underachieved with the Boston Celtics. They only won one championship, and they were the best team in the league, and even on paper. I mean, they were insanely deep, insanely talented. Only team with 4 All-Stars, like all of that. And just were only able to get over the hump once. Right? Look, don't get me wrong, I'm glad the Lakers smacked them, but it's just like, dude, this guy has underachieved every location he's been in. He's had a stacked deck everywhere. Lob City, for the Clippers, for like 10 years were the best team in the league, and they couldn't get out of the second round. This guy goes to Philly, can't get out of the second round. Orlando, right? Like, this one claim to fame was like, whoa, this team shouldn't even have made the playoffs, and we made it. And yeah, but you also had a 3-1 lead. He holds the records for most 3-1 leads ever blown. This dude is a terrible, terrible head coach. Terrible. Every stint he's been at has underachieved. He's had an insane amount of talent. He's had more talent than most coaches have had in the history of the league, and has done nothing with it. I mean, think of all the teams and all the talent he has had on those teams, from those Orlando teams to the Celtics teams to, Philadelphia and the Clippers. And now you got the Milwaukee Bucks with Dame and Giannis. And sure, buddy. And this guy's over here like, I don't understand it. I don't get it. Like, it's crazy to me. What's crazy is that you still have a job. Again, like, I always want to see somebody succeed. I always want to see somebody make it. But Doc Rivers, I mean, how many times can you hire somebody that isn't capable of doing the job? Again, I want to see Doc Rivers succeed. Just not as a head coach, because he can't head coach. He's had enough time. He's had enough teams. He's had enough talent. At what point do you just go, okay, clearly he's not a good head coach? He doesn't make any game execution. He doesn't make any plans. I mean, he's another Darvin Ham. He's arguably worse in a lot of ways, especially come playoffs. Like, Doc Rivers, he has a terrible track record. He's over here talking about, stay out of it. You should have just said, yeah, it's unfortunate, but he's here now. I don't want to talk about it, right? Like, there you go. You're done. Leave it alone. You just said, I don't know. They took him to the conference final. He took it that. Yeah. And you had a stacked team that was the best team in the league for like 7 years, 5 years, whatever it was, and you did nothing. And then you had it again, and you did nothing. Couldn't even get out of the second round. Like, sit down. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel with your thoughts? Agree with my points? Disagree with my points? Kind of in the middle, mixed, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are. I love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot, so we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.